everyone. This is our first Lunch and Learn series for the year. Move up. Clap naman for our first Lunch and Learn for the year. Can we, for those at the back, a bit move forward. Father will be distributing some gifts for you. Actually, ready na siya sa labas bago tayo pumasok. And just to have a short introduction about Father. In our invitation, reminder for this morning, there's a passage there from Isaiah 43:18 to 19. It says, "Remember that not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" It's a new year. It's new start. Some of us may have been to an old chapter of their life, and some of us will be starting this new chapter, especially for the start of the year. So our first our year starter lunch and learn talk we're going to receive today will be coming from a priest who's been staying here in the Philippines for 14 years. He's Portuguese. I was asking him earlier. And trivia, kanina lang, we learned that Portugal is still DMC member of ADB. So tayo pa ng Father. Si Father, although Portuguese and he speaks English of course, sabi niya hindi natin siya mabibenta. So that's it. For the talk, from endings to new beginnings, let's all welcome the Comboni, missionary priest and editor of the World Vision magazine, which is given out for free outside. And later on, they have, if you can take a look at it, there's a subscription form just for 500 pesos for 1 year. So grab a copy and it's free, no, for December and January issue. Our speakers, as the biodata says, he's gifted and humorous speaker. He also presides mass at the feast and in Alabang, Bellevue, in Alabang. So let's welcome Father Dave Domingues.
So thank you very much. Maraming salamat and good noon to all of us. You know, I'm happy that this is not done within the Mass because speeches in the Mass are very dangerous. You know, there was the priest once who was about to start the Mass, no? And the microphone was making a lot of noise. So he started moving the microphone and signaling the sacristan, no? Pero pareho din. And so at a certain moment he said, "There is something wrong with the microphone." And the people answered, "And also with you." So I'm glad we are not in that context. Well, I know that I have to keep it short, so let me go straight to what I prepared for you. I hope it can be a bit of inspiration for you. I was told that is an inspiring talk. Well, you take what is more useful for your journey, okay? I just thought that being in the beginning of a new year, okay, I think it is useful that we make this exercise of looking back and looking forward and having the courage to have new beginnings in our life. I make use of this quote from T.S. Eliot that says, "For last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice, and so to make an end is always to make a beginning." Totoo naman. When you put closure to something, you are up to something new, something else. Now, that's what endings do. They mark the conclusion while they usher something brand new. The past is important and continues to affect us. The fact that you put an end to something does not mean ayoko na sa manggaganyan. Hindi. It is still part of your journey. But unless you put an end to things, there is no way you can start anew. Okay? Therefore, I invite you to realize what a grace it is to begin anew, to make a new beginning, and therefore a new journey. In this sense, if we look at the Hebrew and the Christian scriptures, as a reference, we realize that God gives human beings always new beginnings. We can look at the book of Genesis that poetically describes creation that God made and gave in the beginning. Okay? So, if you go through scriptures, you realize that there are so many endings in the biblical narrative, where God challenges concrete people in concrete situations to move forward, to go beyond, not to remain stuck in the reality where they are. So God gives new beginnings, and in spite of human frailty and sinfulness, God gives gifts of new creation, new beginning, and new life. Kaya yung sinasabi natin, kapag may Diyos tayo, ay walang lugar yung luma. Bakit? Dahil sa kanyang presensya sa ating buhay, ang lahat ay bago na. Amen? That's the power of God in us that invites us always to a new beginning. Okay? Whatever that may mean in the concrete reality of our life. So the good news in this is that the God is the God of both endings and beginnings. Okay? And that the God is with us in our endings and in our beginnings. So anything we experience as we put some things in our journey to an end and start new ones, it's all done in a common journey that God wants to do with us. That's very important. So we don't finish one year and enter another alone. Rather, God goes with us as a companion, guide, friend, depends who is God for you, what kind of relationship you have with Him. Okay? And God accompanies us with His grace and love. So I think that this is very crucial when you want to move forward. The consciousness that we are never alone. If there is something that terrifies the human heart is loneliness. Hindi ko ba? That's terrible. And loneliness very often is part of our journey, even when we are surrounded by crowds. You can have plenty of people around you, and still, sa loob-loob, you can still feel that deep sense of loneliness. For people of faith like we are, it is very consoling if we nurture in us the idea that we are never alone. That God is with us through it all. Amen? Okay? Now, we need to make an end to some things and move on in our lives. Okay? We need to ask God to heal us of the things from the past that have hurt us. Of course, healing is very important to move on. So when you look back and you want to put things into things, you have always to be open to a process of healing, to allow God to truly touch and heal your hearts. So, in this way, we will be ready for a new beginning. We enter into a new year and a new future with these very basic certainties of art, which is faith, hope, and love. Okay? God can and does create such new beginnings in our lives, in our families, in our communities, in our places of work. And God precedes us into each new beginning. This is very important. There is nothing in us foreign to God. So before you arrive to a certain point in your life, be assured, God knows it already. And the certainty that God is there even before I got to experience it, to see it, to perceive it, I think is very consoling also to our hearts. Now, what is the challenge that we have to face first of all? Well, I put this one inspired in Luke 5:36-38. Don't try to limit God's newness, because that's a big tendency. Why? Because we like what is old. Even though sometimes we say not. But yung katotohanan, we feel comfortable with what we already know, with what we have experienced, what we have empirical knowledge. Then we feel okay with it. And when we have to step out of that into something new, then we are terrified. Then we are afraid. Why? Because a new beginning, a new journey is always a challenge that brings us into a field of uncertainty. Okay? So, no one tears a patch from a new garment and sews an old one. So our new beginning cannot just be a patch up of what was there before. That's not a new beginning. And sometimes we tend to do that. In the journey of our lives, we just go along patching up. No, whatever did not work well, let us patch up a bit. Let us try. It's very hard for us to truly start a new journey. Okay? But God delights in doing new things with us and for us. This I'm convinced. Our God is not a God of the past, but is always a God of the present and of the future. Why? Because He believes that with the gifts He has given us, there is such a great potential for new things in our life. Therefore, think of Abraham, for example, started a new journey in his 70s. Leave your homeland, go! I imagine what was going on in the head of Abraham. Grabe. Now that I'm 70, could you not tell me earlier? Grabe ka naman. Diba? Imagine just, no? Or you could think of Zachariah. Now you will get a child. Your wife will bear you a child. Ano ba yan? Now that I am this age and she is matanda na rin, mapag-asa pa? I mean, that's what is surprising about our God. Is that indeed He's a God of newness that breaks away with all that is behind to start something new. And so, I think it is very important that in the journey of our lives, we ask ourselves, what is the newness that God is bringing to my life? Now, don't try to limit God's new life in Christ. Don't try to contain it with your older religious categories. Don't try to dilute it with your older religious practices. Well, I've always been doing these things. I will continue to do them as long as I can. That's usually what you hear from people. Father, I've been doing this for many years now. But I ask, why are you doing it? Do you know why? Why is that important for you? Do you know why? Because unless you know the reason for things in life, they become routine. They become just a tradition. And tradition, per se, doesn't bring you anywhere. A tradition is important. It fuels in your heart a new beginning, new encouragement, okay? New energy to move on. But if it is just for the sake of keeping what you have been doing for ages and ages, amen, it will not lead you anywhere. That's why in our life we have many traditions, many rituals, many things we keep on doing, which actually we are not aware why we even do them. And what is the real value and meaning that they bring to our lives. Okay? So, in this sense, Jesus brings something new always. And He invites us to do what? First, celebrate it. Huh? Second, enjoy that blessing that God brings to your life. Pangatlo, be challenged by its demands and rejoice in its promises. Okay? So God does not give us a new beginning to play with us. The new beginnings of God are meant to bring us farther beyond the here and now. Meaning to build something new for our sake, yes, but also for the good of others. Huh? Being each day with fresh eyes and new ears, with the expectation that the Lord will do something you have never seen or expected. Huh? You don't feel safe and won't be predictable, but it will be marvelous. That's why I like to refer to God as a God of surprises. Do you like surprises? Parang hindi. Do you like surprises? But yung katotohanan, you say yes, but I'm sure that you say, if they are good, Father, yes. Pero kung hindi, wag na lang. Hindi po ba? O yun. But you know, sometimes God also brings us some challenges. We may not like it, but in the end, we understand the purpose. Maybe later in the journey, we will be able to see the purpose of God, which we cannot see in the moment. Let me give you an example, very briefly. In our chapel in Sukat, bigla, in our daily mass appear in her 60s, not so old, lady, okay? And she appeared there sitting on the first chair. I felt a bit strange that from that day onwards, she never missed a mass. So one day I approached her and said, well, I'm happy you are here, and we are happy to have you here every day, but may I know what brings you now every day here? Is there any special reason? Sabi niya, yes, Father. It's an incredible story of how God played with me. Sabi ko, ano ba? Yes, Father. You know, I was madly in love with my husband. You know what is to be crazy in love? That's how I was with my husband. There was nothing in the world besides my husband. And of course, my two children were already abroad. They have their own life, so wala na. Okay? So every moment, everything I do it for Him. Every chance I have to be with Him, I will not let it go. So, I don't even go for Mass. I don't even pray. I do nothing concerning church and God, even though I believe in God. Because all I want is to be with my husband, and he's not a church man. Okay? Bigla, he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And it was galopant. It was fast. A few months, and he was gone. You know, Father, I felt so empty. I felt desperate. I did not know where to turn. I felt so lonely. And so in my long nights, I cried aloud for help. But there seems to be no answer. And one day passing in front here, I saw that the door was open, so I walked in, and you were about to start the Mass. That was my first day of Mass. And since then, Father, God answered my prayer. And I realized what I have been missing all these years. That indeed God was there all throughout, but I had no time for Him. That God was there all throughout, but I couldn't care less. That God was trying to reach to my life, but I did not realize it. That God had something in store for me, but I could not see it. This God is a God of surprises. Huh? But this does not mean that all the surprises are, ang sarap naman. Hindi. Sometimes they require tears. Sometimes they require even some suffering. But in the long run of life, you'll be able to realize what was God's project, God's plan for you. That's why I think it's always wonderful that will remain not stuck in the old. But when you look back, what are you to do? First, review. Review. Look back at your experience stories, but with critical eyes. Capable of seeing what is worthwhile keeping and what you should discard. Because sometimes we want to carry everything along. Everything. Hindi pwede. That's why, when you review, you have to take two attitudes. First, discard. What you feel is too heavy for your life, let it go. Kahit ano yung sobrang mabigat sa puso mo, iwan mo yan. Tama na. You know, sometimes you hear people say, Father, for the past 10 years, I don't speak to my sister. Sabi ko, problema mo yan. Kawawa ka talaga. Why? Because that does not solve any problem. Are you solving any problem by not talking to your sister? No, you are punishing yourself. You are just carrying a heavy burden which you should have let go long time ago. Your heart is still filled with hatred. It's not just about not talking. It's your feelings. Kahit ano na mayroon doon sa loob. Diba? Let go. This is what I mean. Discard. But see also what is worthwhile to keep. Keep from your past experience. Because it is one that you find the energy, the strength, the courage to do what? To do a new beginning. You don't start from zero. Naman. Diba? We are on a journey. Okay? And journeys are made always of many endings and many fresh beginnings. But for that to happen, you need to review, discard, and keep what is worthwhile keeping. Amen? Now, the good question is, are you hanging on to the old when God is on to something new for you? That's a very important question. Maybe God has something new in store for us, but we are still crying the onions of Egypt, as I usually say. We are still just looking back. Okay? So maybe it's the time to move on, look ahead. Let me just jump in to propose to you 8 pillars. But this is not sacred mathematics, okay? This is just suggestions, ko. Huh? That can help you to have a fresh beginning in many dimensions of your life at the beginning of the journey of this year. Okay? So I propose you 8 different aspects. First one, grateful memory. No one moves forward to a new beginning without feeling grateful for the journey accomplished. Gratitude is the language of the wise, is the foundation of new beginnings. If you don't, a grateful person usually has no trouble to move on in life. Di po ba? I don't know if you ever realized that. But the person who is always crying, always complaining, then is a person always with a hard time to see ahead and to start something new. So gratitude is key to a new beginning. I don't know if you agree with me. Huh? But I think if you look in your heart, you will come to realize it. So it is crucial that we have the courage to ask ourselves, Dave, are you truly a grateful person? How do you celebrate gratitude? Because to be grateful is not just a matter of saying, Dave, I know you are grateful. Hindi. To be grateful means you express gratitude. Huh? And ang sarap naman when we hear others say thank you. But how often do I say thank you to others? How often do I express gratitude even through not only by words, but gestures, concrete deeds to show my gratitude towards others? That empowers us to move on. Gratitude empowers us on the journey ahead. Huh? Okay? So this is the first pillar, in my opinion, no? Realizing that God's love for us is never failing, is everlasting. And it is in that certainty that we experience, celebrate, share gratitude, and we move on to something greater that God has for us. So, number one, grateful memory. Let us not lose this because it's very, very important. Pangalawa, live fully conscious. Why do I say this? Because if you realize, Pope Francis has told us that a dull conscience is a big problem. When our conscience become dull, it's very hard to move forward. So, to live fully conscious means to be aware of the moment. Okay? What is the purpose of my life here and now? It's not about just what I do. It's not just about what I usually go on doing every day. But say, what is the greater purpose of that? Is there anything beyond domestic duties, family relations, trying to keep healthy, working, having some fun, going on holiday? All of these things are important. I don't deny it. But have you asked yourself, is that it? And then you are there? Yun ba ang buhay ng tao? Or is there something else? Or is there something greater that we can achieve? Okay? Open the eyes of your heart to the miracles of life in you and around you. So that consciousness to perceive, otherwise you end up being an eternal complainer. Okay? So when you are conscious of the moment, of what is going on within you and around you, you will learn to appreciate the miracles of God in the world and in your life. That's why sometimes people come to me and say, Father, totoo ba? May miracles? And I said, yes. Really? Marami. Talaga? Opo. Paano malaman mo yan? Simple lang. There are plenty of miracles for those who have eyes and hearts to see them. But it's true that some can see them and others will never see them. Okay? You get my point? So this awareness, to live fully aware, is very, very important. Number three, see time as the greatest blessing. Why do I say this? Because one of the great challenge in life today, particularly for you, but also for me, I don't escape, is called routine. Diba? We fall into routine every day, the same every time. Parang walang bago eh. Nakakapagod. Diba? I don't know if you have experienced that. But many people today, even young people, one of the things they come say, I'm tired of life. It's always the same. Ang hirap pala ito. And if you realize, the rate of suicide is sparking up. Not only in Korea, Japan, but even in the Philippines. Young people who cannot cope because routine is too heavy for them. They don't find meaning, they don't find purpose, they don't see the goal ahead. Okay? So one of my suggestions is this. Okay? Each moment is pregnant with immense possibilities. I can choose to be here. I can choose to ignore you and go away. Diba? You can choose to come here and sit and be patient enough to listen to this guy. Or you may simply say, ayoko. Okay? So each moment gives us the power to take decisions that matter. Decisions that can have powerful implications, not just in our lives, but in the lives of others. We are often not aware of the power that God has given us. By giving us a free spirit, a willing mind, we can make things different. Why does it have to be all the time the same? No! You get my point? To To make wise choices, invoke the guidance of the Spirit of the Lord. That's also another thing that often we discard. Once you engage in routine, you don't discern. You just take it, ganun talaga eh. You don't ask yourself, why should I do this and in this way? Is there any other way that might be better for me, better for others? You get my point? Huh? So, when you allow routine to sink in, you lose perspective of all the potential that each moment provides for you. Of the great blessing that each moment can become in your life, and in that way, for other people as well. Huh? Make choices that give flavor to life, yours and others. The problem is that sometimes we don't like to take choices. We don't like to make decisions. We rather go along with the wave. We rather go along with what we usually feel comfortable doing. That does not mean necessarily that it is the best. So, to be able to question ourselves, to see other possibilities is always beautiful. It's always that process of discernment that can lead us beyond the here and now and what we have been doing over and over and over the same way. Okay? I like this quote of Rick Warren. I'm sure you know him, no? He says, time is your most precious gift because you only have a set amount of it. Today we are here, tomorrow we don't know. Today we can breathe, tomorrow we don't know. Today we can smile, bukas hindi natin alam. And there is nothing worse in our lives than regret. You get me? There is nothing worse than to say, if I knew it, sayang talaga. There is no way to go back in time, only in the movies. Diba? Let me give you another story briefly. A friend of mine, always fighting with the mother because she felt as the rejected child, you know, the middle, how do you call that? The middle syndrome, no? They call it, no? You are not the oldest, you are not the youngest, you are in the middle, you don't count, you are just a number, okay? So she felt always that way. I said, no, I know your mother, she loves you. No, I don't feel that love. No. And I say, please, put your heart at rest and tell your mama how much you love her, because I believe you love her. She never did. The mother died in her arms just 3 weeks ago. And she keeps on crying the onions of Egypt with regret. If I only knew. If only I knew that she was dying in that moment, I would have told her. Even if it is the last words I would say in my life, I would have told her how I love her. Too late. Regret. There is nothing worse than regret. Because it's something we can do nothing about it. Special if the occasion is gone. Okay? So, in order to avoid regret, take each moment as God's given moment to you. And see what is the wisest thing you can do with it. Because there is no way back. Amen? Okay, move to the next one. Malapit na. Realize you are capable of great love. Means, rediscover that it's not only time and opportunity for you, but the blessings that God has planted in your heart and in your mind give you the power to make beautiful things. Sometimes we don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves. Very often you hear from people, hindi ko kaya yan. Ang hirap kasi. Siguro hindi ko kaya eh. Well, Above all, we are spiritual and eternal beings. The greatest aim of life is therefore to glorify God with your life and to enjoy God in your life. Don't forget this. Enjoy God in your life. Not just to render praise and glory to God, which we should do with our lives and with everything we do, I hope, but to enjoy God. I don't know, to have fun with God sometimes is good. What do I mean with that? Means to feel that God is really part of your life. To feel that God is really part even of your problems, of your doubts, of your longings. And to be able to enjoy that love of God, that presence of God in your hearts and in your life. Huh? We have been created not just to enjoy life, but to enjoy God forever. Because if there is someone faithful, it's God. And He's always faithful to His love. We'll never go back. God has no regrets. We do, not God. So enjoy that love of God. To feel that you are immense love is a great source of joy and power, isn't it? Huh? So remember that God's love is always there. Always. Huh? Next, learn to trust Him above all. Of course, when we look just at ourselves within the limited circumstances that life offers us, we may feel ourselves too small, too weak. Okay? And especially if you trust only yourself, you have only yourself to blame. That's not a good strategy. If only we would trust more the power of God, the action of God, the presence of God, the forgiveness of God. Then things could be very different. Huh? God uses events in our lives to shape us, to help us grow. These can easily be seen as shackles holding us back to our failures, regrets, foolishness. However, God does not want us bound to the past. God's purpose is greater than our problems and our pain and even our sin. And that's why it is never too late to be a better person. But you can only be a better person if truly you place your trust in Him. Don't take the whole burden of life on yourself. It's useless. In many things of life, you cannot do anything about it. Can you extend 1 minute more to your life if you wish? No. God has that power, not you and me. So it's good that as people of faith, you learn to trust in the one who has true power for our lives. Amen? Sometimes we think the opposite kasi. Pwede ba isa pang kwento? Pwede? You know, I was shocked. One of the first funerals I did, funeral mass, sa Quezon City. Sa Quezon City, sa Sukat, sa Holy Trinity Chapels, no? I usually approach yung kabaong, no? To pray before I start the mass, to create a bit of environment, no? And I realized, nasa kamay ng patay may 20 pesos. Sabi ko, ano ba? Bakit ganon? So in the homily, nasa unang upuan yung asawa. Sabi ko, ma'am, sorry. Kasi hindi ako taga rito talaga, kararating ko lang. Bakit may 20 pesos sa kamay ng asawa ninyo? Father naman, di ba kailangan yan? Sabi ko, kailangan ba? Hindi ko alam. Di ba, Father, magkakatoliko po tayo? Sabi ko, ma'am, ako, oo, kayo, hindi ko alam. Galit na siya. Sabi ko, ma'am, please, bakit kailangan yon? Sabi niya, di ba, Father, pamasahe? Sabi ko, pamasahe? Talaga? Saan siya pupunta? Sabi niya, galit na siya sa akin. Father, di ba langit ang hantungan ng tao, ng bawat Kristiyano? Sabi ko, oo, ma'am. Pero, sigurado kayo na siya ay makarating sa langit? Siyempre, Father! Di ba yun ang ating pananampalataya? Sabi ko, oo, ma'am. pero 20 pesos, hindi abot paklaran. Saan 1,000? I use this story just to tell us that sometimes we think we have power even over what is beyond us. We don't. If only we trust God more, we would be much more free, and we would be able to truly enjoy God's presence in our lives. So trust Him above all is a great requirement to move on in a new life. Then, remember that only love leaves legacy. Many of us are concerned with leaving legacies behind. Father, I'm working hard for my children because I want them to know how much I love them. That's good. So it's love that moves you. It's not how many millions you leave behind. It's the love that you have for them. That's your legacy. So, how do you treat other people and not your wealth, accomplishments, since the most enduring impact you can leave on earth? The best use of life is love. Remember, this is a very simple principle. The best use of life is love. If you are convinced of this, many things can change. Many things can become new. But sometimes we think that the best thing is prestige. Talo tayo. Sometimes we think that the best thing is, yung bank account natin. Kahit mahalaga yun, totoo, mahalaga. But it's not the highest value. Okay? You get my point? So, remember this, the best use of life is love. In whatever possible way you have to live it and to share it with others. The best expression of love is time, and the best time to love is now. Okay? Love endures time and history. One day, they may not remember you, how skilled you were, how many things you have accomplished, how many millions you left in the bank. But I think you would rejoice if you would only know that when you are gone, somebody says, she truly loved me. She was a person filled with love. You could feel God's love in her heart and in her life. For me, that's the best legacy of all. Walang katulad. All the rest will go. Okay? Last, I suppose, rediscover the joy of being a giver. Actually, this was my first intuition as talk for you today. But then I thought of the New Year, so I changed it. The joy of being givers. I think that is true. We acknowledge that in receiving there is joy. We cannot deny it. I mean, it's part of our human tendency. We like to receive gifts, appreciation, smiles, nice words, accomplishments, etc. Pero, yung katotohanan ay, it is what you are capable of giving. Not just materially speaking, but your time, your kindness, your smile, your patience, your mercy is what really fills the heart. Is what really matters at the end. So look at the needs of others rather than just to be consumed by your own. When you are self-centered, only focus yung kailangan ko, yung gusto ko, yung mabuti para sa akin, you are lost. Because walang katapusan yan. It will never be satisfied. You always long for more. But when you are able to open your eyes and look around and see the needs of others, probably become more grateful for the blessings you have. As a missionary, I'm always shocked when I take some missionary works here and there. One trip I did in Sudan, and you see people who have nothing. And I say it, nothing. Pati yung damit, wala. And they are so joyful. enjoying each moment. Baka walang laman yung mga tiyan nila, pero may ngiti ang mukha nila. That shocked me. Shocked me talaga. You know? And I think that the secret of that is to have wide open eyes to what is going on around us. Never to be just looking at our belly button. Those who are belly button adorers will always be unhappy. Huh? Remember this. Reach out, take initiative, go out of your comfort zone. Well, this is what Pope Francis has been saying over and over. And it's true. If you dare to go out, to do something new, to reach out to people, you will be shocked how much that will change your life. Huh? It's true. It's true. And it's not a thing for priests to do or nuns who have none. I think it's for all of us. For all of us. Okay? If I have time, then I will tell you a little story about it. Now, let me just conclude. Sustain yourselves in prayer. Okay? What is it that sustains us in our journeys, in our beginnings and moving forward? Well, for me, it's prayer. I'm not talking about praying the rosary, praying all those novenas. That's beautiful prayer. Okay? But I'm talking about the prayer of every moment and every day. That is the capacity to feel always the presence of God and to say, Lord, I know you are with me. I'm about to start something, doing something. Lord, I need your inspiration. You get out of bed in the morning. Lord, please journey with me this day. It's enough. So don't make time for prayer. Make prayer at all time. That's my advice. Even though it's good to go for a mass, if you have time, it's good to do a novena. I don't deny that. Okay? I'm not denying that. I'm just calling the attention that prayer is far more than that. It's about the personal relationship which you can nurture with God and which can be truly life-changing and life-giving. That's why prayer is so crucial in the journey of life. Okay? And I end with a quote from Pope Francis. Remain steadfast in the journey of faith with firm hope in the Lord. This is the secret of our journey. He gives us the courage to swim against the tide, to go against the current. This is good for the heart, but we need courage to swim against the tide. Jesus gives us this courage. There are no difficulties, trials, or misunderstandings to fear, provided that we remain united to God as branches to the vine. Provided we do not lose our friendship with Him. Provided we make ever more room for Him in our lives. Amen? Yun lang, I will just share a bit this with you. And I had a prayer, but once we did the prayer in the beginning, I think we can just give 5 minutes for questions and answers after this, no? I don't know, I try to put Happy New Year to wish you all a Happy New Year, but with some meaning. Okay? I don't know if it makes sense to you. It makes some sense to me, so I share it with you. First, happiness depends upon your outlook in life. Outlook is not the way people perceive you, but how you perceive life out of yourself. Second, attitude is just as important as ability. No? Our attitudes towards people, towards those we treasure. Passion, find yours this year. Positive thoughts make everything easier. So why not to be positive instead of negative? You are unique with special gifts. God has blessed you so much. Use them in your new beginning. New beginnings with a new year, Enthusiasm, a true secret of success. Wishes, may they turn into goals. Years go by too quickly. Make the best out of them. Experience the closeness of God in your life. Appreciation of life, don't ever take it for granted. Respond to God's love. Serve Him with joy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father. We have a few minutes to take questions, if you have. While thinking about your question, let me remind you that the magazine is, we have few copies that Father brought for free. There are 2 issues, and you can still subscribe just for 500 pesos for a year.
If I may say, well, first of all, I'm no longer the editor of World Mission Magazine, okay? So I was the editor for 4 years of World Mission Magazine. And after that, I've been appointed provincial of the Company Missionary. So my work is a bit of coordination of our work in Asia, okay? But still, I'm the president of the board of World Mission Magazine, and I truly believe it's a great resource for us. I know that we don't read much. I think in the culture today, no, it's more gadget-oriented. Nonetheless, I believe in the power of the written media. Sometimes it's a matter of browsing through it, a word, a picture. Sometimes a little text we may read is enough to nurture a bit in our hearts. It is in that aim that we continue to, every month, send out World Mission Magazine. For your information, it's sent all over the world, about 10,000 copies monthly. Okay? And it is widely appreciated, so I hope it can be also a help for you. For those who wish to receive inside, there is a flyer. No, mine just ran away somewhere. You can just put your full name, full address where you want it to mail. And of course, cannot be for free because there are great costs in these things, as you know, but it's still 500 pesos for ages and ages. So that the majority of people may subscribe to it. So if you want to do it, you may do it today or another day. Just one of you can collect, and then you can always let me know. I can send a messenger to pick it up. Okay? The magazines I brought, regalo ko sa iyo. So, Happy New Year. Any question? Wala? Can I conclude with just a little story? Pwede ba? 1 minute. You know, I was very touched. Last year I visited South Sudan. It's probably the poorest country on earth. No? And I visit one of our missions, under a tree there was a group of people, women, all women, but nobody would go close to them. And I felt something strange. In the African context, it's not something normal. So I approached them and I greet them one by one until a point that when I was greeting, I realized, wala silang daliri. Lepers. Okay? So they were lepers. Kaya they were rejected from their different communities. No? And they come to the mission just by the hospital in order to be fed once a day. And so they just sit under the tree hoping for the time when the mission has the food to be distributed to them. And that's the way they live. So we sit there, we chat for a while. And when I was about to go, I remember one woman who said, "Father, please, I have a big request to make." Sabi ko, ano yan? "Please, don't you ever forget us." I was shocked with the request. I thought she was going to ask for money, for food, for help, for I don't know what. But she asked, "Don't you ever please forget us." Isolation, loneliness, silent suffering. Wow, that pains more than the lack of food. Okay? And I think that's a malady in the world today. You know, that's why in my sharing with you, I pointed out the need to look outward, not just to ourselves. And so I would like to say that I admire, because I was told that you have outreaches, you have kind of charitable, things you try to do as a group. Keep doing it. It may seem like just a little drop of water, pero mahalaga po yan. We don't have to save the world. God will take care of that. But we have to do what we can do. And what we can do, let's do it with joy, with commitment, with passion. And God will take care of the rest. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father. And we hope to see you next Lunch and Learn. And of course, our regular Wednesday Mass and First Friday Mass. Thank you, Father. Thank you.